Oh, yes, yes, yes. Now, I'm looking at this ward, a child placed by a court under the care of a guardian. An election district or precinct in a town or city, the ward. Yeah. Then there are those that are wards of the court, people whose rights and safety are guarded and protected by the courts. Small children, mentally ill people, etc., may be wards of the court. Yeah. Now I'm somewhat concerned because I have 5 sons and I haven't gotten a phone call. Now a child placed by a court under the care of a guardian, yes, or small children, people whose rights and safety are guarded and protected by the courts, yes. Now I know that the courts don't think about protecting the rights of the accused, yes. But this concept of issuing court orders where the 5 minors named are held as wards of the state, pooch. When the petitioner doesn't acknowledge it, it's obvious that she didn't want it. You said you had to issue it. I said, as a father, that you have to give me notice, an opportunity to be heard, and instead of actually enforcing the rights of children to have their parents, somebody in Washington state decided that I was mentally ill for wanting to parent my own sons. Now, in July of 2011, you issued a protection order where I wasn't a resident of Washington State. And then you had to get paid, so you decided to issue a dissolution of marriage where I wasn't given any notice. Then you issue a protection order for 2 years. When you put it in publication, and the sheriff's department personally called me. Then you attempted service 10 months or 10 weeks after the court hearing, instead of on or before the next court hearing. And then under duress, you required the signature of the court officer. And then you fraudulently used state court seals and forgeries so as to make my sons wards of the state of Washington. Now, as a father, I'm concerned because I was thinking about those that are getting married or have gotten married. Could you get me every marriage certificate in the nation? Yes. It seemed that in the police state you had to fuck all the newlyweds. Pooch. And as a man that has gotten married, I was married in Kosovo, Judge Rohr. Hooch, hooch, hooch. And my wife didn't present an actual marriage certificate at the time of the dissolution of marriage. Pooch. But I gave you a copy of it. And you seem to think that you can dissolve any marriage certificate anywhere in the world. Now, a lot of police officers, they know that that one sexual experience that many Americans have, and it could be throughout the world, is that night of the actual wedding where the couple took the time to make sure that the bride was ovulating, because of course you wouldn't want to have a wedding day on any other day than the day of ovulation. Yes, yes, yes. There's nothing like fucking your new wife, is there? Pooch. And couples spend a lot of money on these weddings, don't they? Inviting all the groomsmen and all the bridegrooms, and they invite all their relatives, but there has to be a cop that fucks on the wedding night, the newlyweds, because there is one night of every couple's personal marriage where if I were the cop that had to be the nose of all of those that are married, there's that night where I'd like to get fucked, and that's the night of the actual wedding. Pooh! Now I know. You got married. Pooh. You didn't have sex before marriage. Good for you. You kept your hymen intact because you're a good Christian woman. Yes. And you find out that, well, we just have to be on them, and we're law enforcement, and we have to know what they're doing. So I'm going to fuck your new wife because I'm a fucking cop. Now, this contempt of cop, yes, 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 it's not a crime. Ooh. But I'm just going to want to know the actual location of the marriage certificates of every citizen of this great nation. For the last 30 years, where the cop decided you were in the family, the lizard family. Yes. And during your marriage, you both put a lizard in your ass, and for some reason, you're having lizard sex. Oh! I'm needing some volunteers that may or may not be married that have experienced what the family calls lizard sex. Yes, where the left eye has to see the asshole when you get married. Now, what I can do for you, yes, I'm thinking you're divorcing your husband or you're already divorced. Large breasted woman. In the family, and you were promised you could have anything you want as long as you don't talk about that little friend in your asshole. Poo-poo! And of course, they had to have a. Oh. Now, what happens is I'm needing some women that have the memories but no longer want to shit the can. That's right. You just don't want to put a lizard in your ass anymore, but you need to come all your lizard orgasms that you've already had. Yes, yes. And you married that first husband that happened to be in the family, and for some reason your sexuality got fucked up after all that lizard sex. Cha-cha! Now, as the individual that wants to reprogram the lizard sex, the Illuminati sex of those in the family, yes, that no longer want to put that little lizard in their ass, but they need to come all their lizard orgasms so as to reprogram their eroticism. Yes, yes. I know that night, when you vowed that you would love each other until death do us part, for richer or for poorer, not. Now, let's say you're a big-breasted woman, double D and larger. You're wanting to have a baby. Yes. But for some reason, your sexual nerve endings don't work unless you had a lizard in your ass. I can take the memories that you've already had, yes, and put them back in there, and you can just come the orgasms that you've already had. Yes, you can!